So 2 weeks ago, we were in Marrakech and like walking those maze little streets in the old city where a lot of merchants selling everything to you. We were not planning to buy anything, but I think just being there, it teaches you sales even if you don't want to. And in several minutes, I was already like tapping my phone to buy something I really didn't want, but just because the sales guy was so pushy. So I really wanted to convert this experience into several B2C lessons I've learned by just visiting the old city in Marrakech. So lesson one, no price tags. So if you've been to any of those markets, you know that there are a lot of things on the shelves with no price tag. So you cannot really understand the value to cost ratio. So you need kind of to guess it on your own. And if you don't know the price for silver or like whatever steel accessories they are selling there, like lamps. So if you remove the price, then customer can think only of a value of an item. And then price is just something that you discuss and negotiate afterwards. Lesson number two is splitting the decision makers. So because my wife and I, we talk a lot when we shop because we need to cross-check each other intentions if we really want to do that, like what are the alternatives. She is my soundboard, but the guy split us into two groups and he said, okay, so you shop and Alibaba pays, and like pointing at me. So he basically made us split, and so that I felt alone in the way that I need to make decision on my own and I have no right talking to my wife, which was kind of weird, but it also worked because I felt, so it really felt intrusive, but I mean, that's a brilliant sales move. Lesson number three is treat any interest in your product as an intent to buy. So I was just browsing lamps or like I was browsing anything on the shelves. If I touched anything, it was immediate signal to a merchant that he can put it into a basket, which is basically a table that we then discuss like the whole basket that we want or don't want to buy. He just put it there. So I even if I was saying that it's not something I would really like, I was just curious to see how it looks. He's like, okay, no, never mind. It will still be in the basket, so you'll take it later. So if your customer is even slightly interested in something that you're doing or selling or pitching, treat it as like they cannot live without it and like they really need this product. Lesson number four, closed questions guide the conversation into your direction. So the guy asked me questions like large or small teapot, like do you drink 2 cups or 4 cups regularly? And even if I felt I don't need the teacup or I don't need a teapot, because the questions were closed, my brain was a bit slow to reply with a custom option. So I was going like, oh yeah, maybe small. And so the small teapot was also an intention to buy. So this pot also was going into a pile of things that then we need to discuss the price in the end. Lesson number 5 is something that we all see a lot nowadays on marketplaces and like many websites, is anchor high, do the discount. So it's basically when you're seeing anything that costs $1,000 but it's with 90% discount, that's the classic on the market in Marrakech, because he looked at the pile that he collected for me, even though we just wanted one ring. He made this pile and said, so this costs $650, like in the local currency. Like, what's your price? So, and when he anchors it, it's quite high. I was thinking, okay, 50% discount is a lot, so I will make it down to $300. So when I wrote the 50% discount, he crossed it out and said, this is not the price for you. For you, it's 250. So like anchoring it very high, even though I tried to push it down like half a price, eventually he managed to say, I can go even lower. So I don't even have room to negatively react on the price because I was too shaky to go like 90% discounts from the very start, and I picked only 50% discount. And then he can negotiate price with me because he can even go lower than I suggested. So the higher you anchor, the easier it is to negotiate the price and discounts. Lesson number 6 is bundle relentlessly. So the whole thing of this Marrakech market is that when you have a pile of things that they collected for you, when you are picking like and showing interest on the shelves, is that this pile, they put a bundle price on everything. They don't price it as a sum of things value. They just say this pile costs this much, and then when you try to pick up things out of this pile and say, oh, I want to go with like only 2 or 3, they always find a nice way to say that you need actually everything. Like, but you can put it as a present. We can package it as a present. If you want only one thing, but what about you? Okay, you get the ring for your wife, but what about you? I think you need also to get something. So they're like very pushy, saying, just get it all now. You'll figure it out, like where you put this. So in the end, I was staying with the ring and the small metal plate as a bundle of 2, not a bundle of 12, but a bundle of 2 anyway. And I think he named something around $100 for that, which I thought might be relevant because of the silver ring, but it felt sketchy. Lesson number 7, accept as many payment methods as you can. So this guy literally pushed me to a point where I was trying to buy these 2 things for $100, which probably might be like several times overpriced for what it really worth. But I don't know how, like, this really psychologically pushed me that I actually want to get this as an experience, as if I wanted myself to be, like, frauded. But it was a daylight robbery. I decided to use a very inconvenient payment method just to give myself a last chance to change my mind. And I tried to pay with AliExpress, on my Apple Pay. And it didn't go through. So then I tried again. And the merchant was like, maybe you have a physical card, maybe you have cash. And I understood that this is my only chance to escape this conversation. And I just said, no, I mean, I don't have anything else. This is the only way I can pay. He was desperately trying to get a card from my wife, even though before that he said, like, only Alibaba pays, like, you just shop. But now he's like, okay, I need a card, I need the cash, like, you need to pay for this. So that was exactly the step where he lost us. Like, he literally transformed my $0 intent of buying into a real $100 transaction for 2 things I didn't really want, but he couldn't complete his pitch because he couldn't accept a weird way of this Western European money payment. So yeah, nearly 1,000 years of sales DNA I absorbed in several minutes of being upsold on anything I see or touch. And if you're selling anything to anyone, I definitely recommend visiting Marrakech Medina Market just to see how it's done in offline sales. And if you also been there, share your experience. Really keen to hear if you had other expectations or other experience over there. But for us, it was like shockingly new.